wanted to express my displeasure and disappointment once again in Shannon Sharpe and just overly pounding and trouncing on John Morant. In case you guys don't know, John Morant has asked for time off and he's been granted time off. This is what I'm talking about, where you see this done to, in particularly, a black athlete on a regular basis. Doesn't matter how small or how big it is, they just will trounce on them. John Moran has apologized. He's taken accountability. He's asked for time off. Instead of us constantly pouncing and trouncing on him, let's just say, hey, let's just hope for the best in him and hope that he comes out a better person. I'm not going to keep piling on John Morant. Okay? I'm not going to keep doing that to a young black man. I think maybe now he gets it. And John Morant is just a product of a fake environment that's been, created to basically tie to black people and in particularly black men about how you supposed to act as a black man. So now people are mad about how John Morant has been presenting himself. Well, this is the image that they want us to have. This is how they see us. So don't just blame John Morant. Blame the TV and film industry. Blame the music industry. This is the end results of people like John Morant thinking this may be what blackness is, coolness is, it acceptance. So while we sitting up here piling on John Morant, let's just look around and see how this monster, how this machine was created. See, nobody wants to have those conversations. See, everybody wants to run from those conversations. How all this started and where this starts with. Now, at the end of the day, for people to say, John Morant, he went to private school. He went to, the best school. Yeah. But guess what? That's the problem. It isn't perceived as cool, especially in our community. And we have to admit, we think backwards. There's some issues in our community that we going to have to start addressing and talking amongst each other. For real. The man has apologized. He said he's going to seek help. But to see Shannon Sharpe constantly pound and trounce on him, and I don't want to hear this stuff about is tough love. No, he just doing what the media always does to, in particularly, black men. And don't nobody come on here that's an outsider, especially if you're not black. Give me your unwanted opinion, because I don't care what a non-black thinks. Don't tell me don't make this about race, because it's always about race. So just stop it. It's always overkill with these situations. It's just overkill. It doesn't matter how big or how little it is. They just go to the extreme. Okay. Keep in mind, he's 23 years old. Now we get to the point to where we try to reach out to John, say, hey, John, you got to make better decisions, young man. You made a mistake. You used bad judgment. Now reality has hit you. Now, how do you learn from this? What do you do to become a better person? So like I said, what's going on with John Morant is not entirely his fault. It's our fault to a certain degree. Once again, it's a generational thing. It's an image thing. This is the monster that was created. Because we the only ones in our community that think the way we think pertaining to this. This is why I'm glad that the situation with Michael B. Jordan got addressed. And I'm glad that he brought awareness to that by saying, hey, I was the corny dude. Oh, I'm corny because I wanted to be an actor. I'm corny because I'm not from the streets, or I don't hang out in the streets. I'm just, living a regular life. I'm corny because I want to go to college and get an education. But this is the end results. This is what people think. This is how John Morant think when he hear the latest rapper, because that's supposed to be what the image of the black man is. How many times? That's what makes you black. That's what makes you cool. How many times you been arrested? How much drugs you sell and that kind of stuff. So once again, we don't want to have those conversations where this is coming from. Why a lot of these young black men think the way they think and start hanging around hanging around people with questionable personalities. Because we've been made to believe that. And this is something that's been specifically aimed at black men, from the so-called toxic masculinity to forcing certain type of agenda towards black men, anything to screw up and psychologically damage a black man. John Moran is psychologically damaged because of what he believed is supposed to be cool. Streets and all this stuff, hanging out in the streets. That's why, like I said, I laugh at some of these black people. How you gonna sit up there and talk about John Morant and he need to make better decisions when you got people on here that brag about how they went to prison and all that kind of stuff, and how much they used to sell drugs and all that kind of stuff. When I talk about the lifestyle I lived and what I was into, it's to teach people not to do it. I don't sit up here and say I'm proud that I sold drugs. I'm not, like, come on, man. But you got a lot of people that embrace that stuff. And that's why I don't respect them for that. Because you're hurting our community. You're hurting our young black men and women. So like I said before, Shannon Sharpe, a.k.a. Horseface, okay, you doing too much now. You don't have to constantly pound on him. And at the end of the day, I don't even like the idea that we continue to have these type of discussions about our community with people that's not from our community. Skip Bayless ain't gonna never understand. And to a certain degree, they ain't gonna care, because to a certain point, they're gonna listen to this and they will use these talking points against us. Like I said before, look what they look what they do. Look what type of music they promote towards us. This was like a 30-year plan. Look what type of music they play on the radio. Degenerate behavior among black men and black women, from over-sexualizing yourself to guns and selling drugs and all that kind of stuff. And that was their overall plan. As they started to fade out what you would call the fun rap, the positive rap, the Public Enemies, the Chuck D's, the Kid and Play, they started to label that as the MC Hammers. They started to label that as corny. And then they started to basically flood the airwaves with black negativity and try to sell that as coolness. But then when these type of incidents happen, these are the same people that have the nerve to say, why is people like John Morant behaving like this? Because this is the image that you think of us as. This is how we're perceived. This is what you think a black person is. This is how you think a black man is supposed to behave. So while you sitting up here blaming John Morant, no, look around you. So Shannon Sharpe, like I said, the dude is just doing too much. Okay, enough, dude. Enough. The man has apologized. He says he's going to fix himself. So let's give this man the opportunity to fix himself and redeem himself. And in the meanwhile, start calling out some of this stuff that's going on around us. Start calling out the people that's putting out stuff that's depicting us in a certain type of way. Everybody need to be called out on this stuff. So I'm just saying, man, I just had to get this off my chest because Shannon Sharpe is really getting on my nerve. And it ain't tough love. Okay? It's demonization. How come you wasn't saying this about Chad Willer? Where was all this Dana White stuff? Oh, I don't care what the situation is. It's no excuse to, do what you do pertaining to a woman. They never keep the same energy. They never keep the same energy. Like I said, I understand John Morant made a mistake, but you don't have to constantly pounce on the dude. He took accountability. That's the problem in our community. We need to start looking and seeing where this is coming from. John Morant is just another young black man that fell prey and fell victim to what's been told and taught to him by what's been taught to him via TV, social media, what is what is cool, what isn't cool, what is acceptable, how we're perceived, how we're supposed to be accepted, what is the definition. And I'm gonna tell you right now, I don't like the definition that I'm seeing what a black man is supposed to be. So we need to look around and see what's going on. Because he's much bigger than John Morant. And I'm not going to keep pouncing on that young man. He's 23 years old. He made a mistake. He owned up to it. He said he's going to do better. Let's give the kid a chance to see, can he fix himself? He asked for time off. Because like I said, they don't have that same energy for Ezra Miller. They didn't have that same energy for War Machine. So like I said, I'm not making excuses for him, but at the same time, he apologized. He accepted accountability. He asked for time off to fix himself. So let's see what happens. Anyway, I'm out.